like always. That was a leading question.
That's just exactly the question a former cast member would ask.
Yeah.
I sat through this training. Did you notice it?
Or you notice the way I'm indicating the
I
way?
was scooping the garbage as I walked.
You know what? Stop pointing with just one finger. That's very rude.
That's rude in some cultures.
Yeah.
I think all you need to say is that they were nice.
No, but that's exactly, like pointing you in the right direction. And when we watched, I can't remember, why can't I remember the names? Phantasmic, I think was the one. And we were like standing in the walkway watching, and they're like, oh no, like you can watch, but you have to get behind the rope. And I was like, this is so cool, so that the people behind us could just walk easily and not, have people blocking the walkway. And I was like, they're so smart.
Organized.
And this should be everywhere. Like this amount of organization should be in all of the different areas.
Totally. Well, and can you imagine if they didn't have that organization? Like it would just be mass chaos. So it was like
even at the Eccles that we went last night, I was like, this is not good.
they need to take some out of Disney's handbook.
Yep.
Did you guys watch the parade? Oh wait, the parade's not there.
I don't think they have them right now.
Oh, okay.
Because they're getting ready to. So Paint the Night, which is the best parade of all time. They used to be right there on Main Street in Disneyland, but they're actually taking it and putting it over in California Adventure.
That's right, for all the Pixar stuff they're opening. That's like their segue. I forgot that they're not doing like the Soundsational during the day.
Oh, thank goodness.
Come on, Soundstation. I like that one.
I wasn't a big fan of Soundsational. I guess I'm kind of in the minority on that one, but Paint the Night was sweet.
Well, if Main Street's under construction, they can't do a parade anyway, so that's probably why they took advantage. Like, let's fix up the tracks.
The other thing that was bizarre to me was how chilly it was. I have never been to Southern California with it being that cold, and I think that deterred a lot of people. I mean, you could get on the river ride in California Adventure and just go on it and go on it and go on it because it was that cold, but like we didn't really plan for the cool temperature. It was probably 60. There were people with coats and hats and gloves, and we just did it hoodie style. But
when we made Holly made us the Mr. and Mrs. they're Mr. and Mrs. hoodies for Disney, and I remember people would ask us like, "Why are you bringing a hoodie to Disneyland?" And we're like, "Just trust me."
Yeah, and after like 5 or 6 anyways, even on a regular night, it still gets chilly at night when you watch the fireworks at midnight.
I'll tell you what though, like first timer tip from Jess, and then for everybody else, go in January, February, March, because I'll tell you what, what was great? The crowds were super, not that much. But then beyond that, like who hasn't been in the Cars line sitting for 2.5 hours and you're just sweating, like crazy?
Yeah.
Not worth it. Go and be a little bit chilly. I loved that. I will do that again.
Did you guys do the water rides then, since it was colder? No Splash Mountain?
Splash Mountain was closed.
That's
it really?
right.
Yeah.
Why?
That's right. It refurb.
So many of the things they said had gotten rusted, and they want to make sure, because in the summertime, it's the way that everybody cools down.
Yeah.
They have to have it ready for summer, so they have it closed
So
down.
you didn't do the river rapids in California Adventure?
Yeah.
I don't even do it, even if it's hot, because I don't like being that wet. Like, it drenches you that your, like, pants just, like, chafe you the rest of the day, and you're like, no.
Yeah, we didn't wear pants, so that was the thing, too.
That's true. I usually wear leggings.
Took a page out of our book, didn't you?
Tell them about seeing Frozen.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk
Frozen
about
the
that.
musical.
Yeah, so talk about that. Because I had seen Aladdin before, and there was some discussion where I was like, it's Frozen, I don't know how it's going to be, but I saw Aladdin in the
Hyperion Theater.
Hyperion Theater. And so we made sure that we got there early, because I was like, we have got to get a good seat for this. Because when I went to see Aladdin, it was turning people away.
Definitely.
All that kind of stuff. So we went over. Go ahead. You can pick it up, Jess.
So Richie likes any musical ever, pretty much.
Good for you.
And so I wasn't super excited. I was like, it'll be okay, whatever. But it was amazing. Like, the costumes were so good. Like, the little snowman costume and the reindeer costume. The way that they make it so that when the guy walks, like, it really looks like the reindeer's walking. And, like, it was funny, and the singing was great, and the theatrics or the special effects were so good.
Yeah, people were...
I loved it.
It was an uproar when they changed it from Aladdin, because that's a classic, and Frozen kind of seems to be more of like that was like geared towards kids, and we were like so annoyed with the song, and so everyone was kind of like annoyed or like pumping the brakes. But you and I went and saw it, and I thought it was great.
We were definitely of the mindset, like when we heard they were closing Aladdin, we were like, no. And especially when we found out they were bringing in Frozen, we're like, triple no.
Yeah.
So
no.
Not excited about it. And so we went the very last day, because we happened to be there for Aladdin before they closed it. And, oh my gosh, it was so sad. But then we went back, like a year or so later, and that's right around when Frozen had just opened. And we were pleasantly surprised. We're like, oh yeah, we could totally see this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was just as good as Aladdin was.
Well,
for
because
sure.
they had the genie, like the comedic relief, and that's why the Aladdin show was so good. But then they took that on in the Frozen show and had Olaf be kind of like the comedic relief, and so I thought it translated well. I thought to all ages. I was worried it was going to be kind of just for kids.
Didn't they make it snow during it? Do I remember that correctly?
With bubbles.
Yeah. Oh, that's
The
cool.
same thing they use for the Christmas parade, so it looks like it's snowing, but if you actually catch it, it's little bubbles.
And it doesn't taste very good.
Oh,
Did you try that?
I mean, no.
Richie's over there just like,
I'm going to catch one.
Call poison control. It's soap.
you're weird. All right. Well, good. We're glad you liked it, and we're glad that you want to go back. So we're going to wrap up the show with our 2 segments that we always do. The first one is Ask a Cast Member, but today we're going to switch it because we have Jess with us to ask a first-timer. And so we were able to get questions from our listeners to find out what it is that they would want to ask somebody going to Disney for the first time. And one of those questions is, and this is from Christy Keene, and she wants to know, who is your favorite character?
Did you guys do the whole character thing while you're there? Like, did you meet any, get some pictures?
So, Richie loves characters. I don't really get it, to be perfectly honest. Like, I just feel like they're people in costumes. Like, I don't get the magic of meeting a character, really. But so one thing I liked, was it the Star Wars guys that would come around with their guns and
The Stormtroopers.
Okay, Stormtroopers.
Yeah, the white guys, right?
Sorry.
No, you're good. I just was clarifying.
They were really fun, but
we did get a picture with the character.
we got a picture with a couple, with Goofy and with.
Because there was no line?
And who else?
I don't remember.
Captain Hook.
Oh yeah, Captain Hook.
She forgot his name.
I think Goofy was the coolest because we saw Goofy like in the little, where Minnie's house is and
Right.
Mickey's house. I think it was there, but that whole area was just so
Toontown.
cute, and I was like,
Toontown.
this is really their house. Like it was just, I don't know, that was fun for me.
Yes.
So we'll go with Goofy.
But there was like an hour wait to get to Minnie or Mickey. I'm like, let's wait. And she's like, no, let's
Like,
not.
absolutely not. That's like the one area of the park that I don't think we ever go to is
Toontown?
Toontown. For some reason.
Usually not.
Like we go, I think you and I have only ever been on Roger Rabbit's ride like once or twice, but that's the only reason we ever go back there. Right?
It's nice and quiet. Like we talk about a place to get sort of a distraction to kind of get your bearings straight. We found a place where there wasn't a million people walking by and could just sort of be quiet and just be like.
Well, that's where the ice cream was. So
And that's where the ice cream was.
That's funny.
I like it back there. That's cute.
All right, and then just the second question is from Ed Castrillon, and he wants to know, what took you so long to get to the party?
Well, yeah, so I mean, I've been to big cities and stuff, and I just hated it. So I thought Disneyland was going to be the same thing, just like exhausting and loud and crowds and stuff. But yeah, I think it just speaks to how cool they've set it up to where you really still get the magic of it, even though you're around so many people and even though you're waiting in lines and stuff. It really is cool. So
It becomes like a personal experience rather than like, feeding to the masses.
yeah, exactly. And there's so many different things I like about it. Like it's not just wait for the ride and that'll be cool and everything else is just kind of okay. Like there's cool stuff along the way too. So
For sure.
And I know we just broke you in on Disneyland, but what about Disney World? Are you tempted? You want to go?
yeah,
Is that
definitely.
Next?
Is it
Okay.
like similar? Or is it totally different rides
Totally
and
different.
everything?
I mean,
Holly Dillon?
I would say the Magic Kingdom is similar, but everything else is totally different. Different castle, a couple different rides. They don't have Indiana Jones, sorry. But they do have a ride in another park that uses the same track, but it's not as cool of a theme.
Basically what they did is they took like the size of a city and bought all this land, and there's 4 different parks plus 2 water parks, right? But you, like, in order to get at Disneyland, you can go across the street.
It's 40 square miles
Yeah.
of land with 4 parks many miles away from each other. So you take monorails and buses from park to park, and just everything in California, it's pretty cramped. In Florida, they're allowed to spread out. And they kind of learned a lot of lessons from California. If you think California was organized.
So, yeah.
That's true.
But basically you have to like seriously go, you have to travel a long ways to get away from Disney, right? Whereas in Disneyland, you go across the street and you're at the Motel 6
Yeah.
or whatever they have, right?
Or the Alamo Inn, as we stayed.
Did
Is that
you?
where you stayed?
Oh, the fanciest place in Disneyland.
I thought it was great.
Isn't it walking distance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no,
I
we
always
walked.
say stay somewhere walking distance because you're only going to spend 8 hours there and then you're back at the park. So it really doesn't matter. It's like you're mostly sleeping while you're there. So it doesn't really
Mostly.
matter.
Well, that's cool. All right, well, let's wrap this thing up with the Remembering the Magic. Holly, do you want to read it?
Yeah, so this was written into us from one of our listeners named D. Sima. Did I say that right?
I think so.
All right. So they wrote to us and they said, my most magical moment was seeing my daughter, who is 15 years old now, her face light up when she saw her favorite Disney princess, Snow White. She was heading to the gate to go on break. My daughter spotted her while we were in line to take pics with another Disney princess. She darted out of line to catch up to her, grabbed her hand from behind, and said, I found you. I love you. Seeing the joy on her face was all we needed to have the best vacation ever. She was 5 years old at the time.
So how cool would that, how cute would that be? This little 5-year-old girl runs over
I love
and
you.
just blindsides, Snow White, telling her how much she loves her.
Yeah, that's
and
adorable.
Snow White wasn't just get off my kid.
Yeah.
She she probably loved that.
Loved it. And if you guys want to share your Remembering the Magic, please email us at navigatingthemagicpodcast@gmail.com. We'd love to read them over the air.
Or you can also find us on social media. Once again, Facebook is Navigating the Magic Podcast. Twitter is Nav the Magic, and then Instagram is Navigating the Magic Podcast as well. And you can message us on either or on any of those to submit your stories or questions if you might have for a cast member too.
That's right.
Well, that's going to do it for us today. We want to thank you guys for coming out, and Richie and Jess for being our special guests.
Thanks
Yeah.
for being on.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome. And everybody, keep on navigating on.